Welcome back for the final time tonight as we really look to try and conclude the series between arguably, you would say, the best teams in the region right now. It is Team Bliss up against Antic, and it was a series, or game one, Max, that I think really had all the tops and turns you sort of expect. At times, it felt hard to commentate because you just wanted to witness and spectate and soak in that sort of high-octane gameplay.
Well, it was high octane, but also it was just high level across the board, right? It was a very disciplined early game. Both teams knew what win cons they were playing for, so there weren't any unnecessary risks being taken, right? Just high level League of Legends. And then when it came to the objective fights, that's when it really started to ramp up, right? We saw time after time just the slightest mechanical outplays being key in flipping these fights rather. And hopefully we get to see that again in game two as we load into draft, same sides. Will the draft turn out a similar way?
Well, so far, certainly the same in terms of the bans, with Karma, Varus, and Lucian denied on the one hand, and the exact same from Bliss in the Ashe, Zen, and Renata. Then it begs the question whether or not the approach from Antic is to double down on the sort of center approach. I think both of us were kind of aligned in terms of the drafts weren't the overwhelming issue. It felt like both teams very much were able to get their hands on what they're after. But in saying that, they're going to say, you know what? A fifth pick Cassante, yeah, it's not happening. So we're just going to completely pivot and pick that ourselves.
It's interesting that they've gone with that first, right? That really signals to me that the discussions that they were having between those games kind of indicated that Cassante was a big problem for them, right? He was able to remove those members of Antic from a lot of those fights. You saw Aatrox, whenever he was on a flank, he'd simply get removed. Tahm Kench often as well, getting thrown away with someone inside him. So just trying to minimize that possibility. But the response will be an Ornn here from Biopanther. This is a Biopanther staple, but something that we've been seeing less of in this season, purely because it's been kind of pushed away by these stronger top laners, but certainly a very strong scaler and provides so much value in those team fights.
Certainly does. He's definitely one of Biopanther's most popular champions as they combine that with the brand once again. I mean, there's no reason not to, right? It works so flawlessly in game one. I wonder, I know it's obviously very early on, if there's a sneaking suspicion that the Ornn also sort of serves as a budget Cassante in the sense that you still got the Bellows Breath, you've got that unstoppable frame, and you're watching Bio time and time again use it to try and soak up the Maokai ult and make sure that everybody could stand behind themselves. They're going to be very strong for the engage, but also for the protect and peel. And it looks like we got ourselves a Tristana, potentially the makings of a double ADC comp.
Yeah, absolutely could be. This Tristana's an absolute menace in the mid lane, right? Does so well into basically every single mage that's available, purely because of its pushing power and its ability to get aggressive with that rocket jump. And, you know, obviously we're going to be picking up Swiper's jungle here as well. The Maokai coming out. He played it in game one. Did find a number of successful engages and a number of successful picks, and going to be pairing that with the AD carry in the mid lane. But the answer here from Hayri is going to be this Yona champion who really wants to pressure Tristana, make sure that she's not able to use that rocket jump forwards, and instead going to be using it to try to survive.
Basically, yeah, you see how aggressive a Tristana can be in the laning phase, using that sort of get a jail free card, almost asking to get ganked. Yone is going to be saying, well, the pressure is on, and you got to respect the fact that you'll be solely relying on your explosive shot just to passively push the wave and try and get a bit of siege damage done in the process as well. As we enter into the second half of the draft, and it's Bliss saying, well, no center for you today, and no Xayah for them. So the response clearly is that bot lane is now the major focus. Game one was a rinse, and game two, a fresh beginning for both of them.
Yeah, and you do wonder what both bot laners are going to go towards here, right? The depth in that role has been stripped away quite heavily throughout this draft. All 4 bans in the second phase going to be towards that bot lane, and it'll be a Vard staple in response, but it's an insta-lock Ziggs to come out here from King. Now, King is a player who definitely has a wide champion pool, right? He's played so much in different regions and even here. But the Ziggs is a fantastic answer into this Aphelios, right? The range becomes a real issue because Ziggs can just throw bombs, clear waves from basically anywhere, and Aphelios has a very hard time actually running into all of that damage from the Ziggs.
Certainly does, and I'm so glad we finally did get the experiment in the bot lane, right? Certainly with the Seraphine coming into effect, you're thinking it's so close to happening, right? We brought up, I believe it was last week, right, the idea that potentially Ziggs could come back into the meta of things, potentially with a Karma, but certainly with a Bard also offers the same level of success, and that you can honestly open up the lane on your own and the Bard can freely roam around the map. I'm excited to see this one in effect. Also, the same could be said for Violet, right? The Aphelios, definitely one of his staples. He's second most played of all time, and after this game, They'll be tied for first with Jinx.
Yeah, definitely a champion where if he's allowed to go unchecked into this late game, he will just absolutely machine gun through every single person on Antic here. A very different kind of approach here from Antic in this second game. You can see King still opting for a non-standard AD carry, which is something, to be honest, that I didn't really expect from him coming back into the league. I was expecting him to be on these hyper carries and, you know, like the Jinx, like the Ephelis himself. But however, he's really favoring this kind of unique playstyle, and it really speaks to his depth as a player to be able to pull something like this out.
As you say, right? After 565 games, you'd imagine that the guy's played enough League of Legends to figure it out. And what were 34 games, or 34 unique champions played on stage. He's played 6 before. He's amassed himself, unfortunately, a 30% win rate on it after 8 games. But it's not to say that the champion is weak by any stretch of the imagination. Certainly, if you can get yourself a strong setup in the bot lane, towers are falling on down like you would not believe. You saw how much plate gold he got as the center time catch. If the laning phase goes their way again, then surely the Ziggs can break open the game.
Yeah, absolutely one of those champions. Combined with the Tristana as well, right? They're just able to completely snowball these turrets. So you leave them alone for any second with a tower, suddenly it's gone. So these Rift Heralds are going to be really important to prioritize. These Grubs are going to be really important to make sure you're getting control of. We know how prolific Brand is at taking that objective, so I expect Winer to kind of path in a similar vein to last game, where he's able to get up there for their early spawns and then be there for the respawn as well.
But let's not waste any time then, loading into the Rift for the final time tonight. It's the culmination of a series that we've been hotly anticipating for such a long time. It is your match of the week for a reason, as these two teams are fighting at the top of the table to assert themselves as the best in the region. And Bliss are well on their way to retaining their outright first place position with Game 1 under their control. But in Game 2, a few adjustments have been made by either side, and Antic completely flipped the script and said, we've got strong siege, but we've got ourselves a really strong ability to you know, pick apart the team with the likes of Cassante and Bard.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see how this Cassante matchup into the Ornn goes, right? Obviously, Ornn does decently well into other tanks because of the damage that he has on his W. However, Cassante still is such a potent laner, right? Especially once he's working his way towards that Iceborne Gauntlet, can certainly just do so much damage that even an Ornn needs to look out. But really the thing that I'm looking at Zoranus for is his roaming, right? We know he's a very prolific player who likes to roam. We saw Biopanther get towards the mid lane on the Cassante last game. And I imagine Zoranus is looking to do the same with the Ghost equipped. If he finds a Brand, it will be a kill. So look towards that top lane, especially at level 6, to be a little point of action, as for now, we will have our customary pause.
We certainly will, Max. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be a show without one of these ones, and it's a line that we'll use every single time, no matter how redundant it feels, like how cliche it sounds. It is one of our favorite times, but ultimately, I'm really excited to see this, you know, Ziggs Tristana work in tandem, because it's a different sort of, you know, spin on things, right? Traditionally, we've seen, at least the last 4 weeks of gameplay, it has been, you've got Tristana, lock in another AD carry, go to work with it, and whilst it's definitely not the hardest comp to pull off, it's there's definitely some fine tweaking to getting it underway, right? So to sort of showcase this time, hey, it's going to be the Battle of the Yordles. It's, you know, Tristana Ziggs special. I'm keen to see what their objective will be, whether or not they're going to put you know, a bigger focus on things like the Void Grubs to double down on that sieging potential.
Yeah, I mean, if you manage to get 6 Void Grubs with this comp, even 5, you know, you're going to be doing so much damage to turrets on top of the already ludicrous damage that both of these champions do. But to go back to your earlier point, this is a very high execution comp that Antic have kind of drafted for themselves. I mean, yes, they have the easy front line with the Maokai and Cassante, but Bard, Ziggs, and Tristana, all these champions, if they're getting hooked on, there's so much damage to come out of Bliss that they will be going down. So they have a lot of damage themselves, but they definitely need to be part of these fights carefully to make sure they don't go down.
And it certainly is an easier way for them to grief one another, right? If a Tempered Fate goes out right on top of the Mega Inferno Bomb, you're thinking, really appreciate that one, didn't work out in our favor, right? So certainly some potential. Once upon a time, I remember we used to have Camille on the top lane, and it was the easiest combo of all time, right? For the Ziggs, you'd lock them in place with the Hextech Ultimatum, guarantee that they would just get hit by the bomb. But Camille still needs a little bit of love. I'm sure you're waiting for the day for that champion to come back.
Oh, absolutely. The second you said the Camille Ziggs combo, I had a flashback to a time I did that. I don't think there are any current players in this game that were in that one, but certainly a good combo. Another good combo as well is this Ornn plus Yone combo, right? This massive ram coming over plus that Yone ult can certainly make any choke incredibly deadly. So there are quite a few nice synergies to come out kind of across the map here. We will wait to see how that unfolds. As bot lane is the push early on, as is to be expected when you have this Bard Ziggs early game.
Certainly is to be expected, and a lot of this then relies on King playing, smart in the lane, right? Not overexerting his pressure, but certainly keeping it up, because your best defense would be a strong offense, but it does allow then Draku to free roam to pick up his meeps, but also then to assist in other lanes, and obviously use that magical journey to traverse the map at such a accelerated rate. Well, there's a rocket jump, and nicely into the bottom bush, into the waiting arms of his jungler, as Wynut was posing the potential for a gank from the top side, but as you also mentioned, right, it is going to be a case where the rocket jump will have to be, more often than not, used fairly defensively.
Yeah, not only does that set you up for danger, but there's a little bit of danger in this top side here. Zonas pops the ghost and will narrowly dodge the stun there.
Yeah, just a little bit too quick with the ghost active, right, for the Q to land there from the brand. So no stun. You're almost expecting that the W be available for the Kasanta to try and buffer and become unstoppable, but ultimately just kept pressing W and running straight the hell away. It does describe just how strong this brand can be.
Yeah, once again, he's opted for the flash as well. You know, Ghost is kind of the preference in solo queue, just because Brand is so low mobility that even a flash really isn't enough for a lot of situations. You like having the extra mobility that a Ghost provides you, but I think in competitive it's just so much more valuable to be able to have that kind of sporadic thing where you can throw it out, you can be spontaneous and no one can expect it, or you can dodge a really snap engage from the enemies. So why not going to have the Ghost to be able to match Kasante there means that he will be able to run out there. And much like game one, a very reserved early game, right? Neither team really willing to overextend too much. These laning mistakes simply aren't being made.
Yeah.
It's nice to see very high level League of Legends come out of those.
What is fairly calculated, as you rightly point out, right? It's a case of looking at the odds, taking the margins and seeing what you can get away with, and certainly being a little bit cheeky from time to time. But more often than not, a case of hit level 6 and then scout out what opportunities present themselves. You see that Roma does hit level 6 first. Harry teasing the idea of, well, if I had my fate sealed available, I would certainly have a crack and at least force out a flash from you. But the TP's already been burnt by the Tristana, and Harry having now just across level 6. I do believe still has... no, he's used the TP as well. I was going to say he might have the TP advantage and can and play with a bit of reckless abandon.
Yeah, TP is going to be equalized in the mid lane here, as we can see both supports and jungles have moved towards these Void Grubs, right? We already mentioned how important they are in a game with such towers, and Swiper's been found.
CC combo into Swiper, that's a tank, but he doesn't look like it right now. Very squishy as the Stolen Band comes ripping back, and Harry finds the first kill. That's the first spot that they need. Rips back into a second, potentially onto Zoranus, who drags back Bio, but he just bashes him with the Brittle proc, then knocks up another, and is setting up his team for so much success. There's the stun on Torioma, who's forced to flash away in the end, as he's under so much pressure, but a fantastic satchel charge, splits apart free, and Scott resigns himself. One final hook, and he falls to the grave too.
Yeah, those Void Grubs are certainly the point of interest for both teams, but Bliss are just first in the area. They find the initial kill onto Swiper, who, yes, he's a Maokai, but he's definitely not tanky in the face of 4 members. He goes down initially, and then the damage is too great from the rest of Team Bliss. The Ornhorn getting dodged out by the Kasante W, but let's take a look at this fight again, right? You can see Swiper kind of getting baited by just seeing Biopanther there. Doesn't respect the other members of Team Bliss and just gets CC chained.
CC chain flashing at the end, but ultimately Harry was always running him down, and you just seen the full CC combo.
Look at that W, by the way, from Kasante. It nullifies 2 ultimates completely. He still goes down as a result, but would have gone down much sooner if he hadn't done that. And then off the back end of the fight, you can see that King rocking up is kind of unexpected and kind of throws Scott for a loop. Means that they do get 1 kill back, but even then, you're very happy with this as Team Bliss.
And that being my point, right? I already mentioned the prevalent combo between that of a Yone and an Ornn, completely nullified by a single ability.
That's Kasante. That's why we all love him.
We've got the copy pasta, I believe, pinned in the LCO Twitch chat, so no doubt they can spam that whenever they see one of those moments happen again. But what a champion, and a big reason, I believe, right, why in this series in particular, they've actually opted for a first pick, when usually it's been an AD carry.
Yeah, huge value here, right? Obviously isn't able to find a kill there, but with the amount of damage it provides, it's certainly a threat on its own, as well as the ability to, like we just saw, tank up all of that engage means you can feel comfortable walking in front of your carries, walking in front of your Tristana and Ziggs to get up to an objective. And now Team Bliss are going to have these grubs in their sights, uncontested this time. They'll have all three.
They certainly will have 4-3. They brought all 3 members to guarantee that result as well. And they've left Violet to his own devices in bot lane for what feels like a bit of an eternity. Certainly makes sense when you have the chakrams available. You can shred through those plates. You can be left to your own devices and do really as you please. The trade-off being that King did manage to pick up an assist when he made the trek up to the mid lane. But ultimately, I think either side feeling pretty happy about how this game's resulted. You know, you've got the side of Antic saying, well, we're scaling on up. We've still got that win condition of sieging and breaking open the game. As for Bliss, they're thinking, well, we've denied you those initial 3 Void grubs. We've made it impossible now for those Void Mites to go your way.
Yeah, the grubs are huge, but I think the main benefactor from Bliss is actually Hayri here in this mid lane, right? You can see once he collects this wave, he'll be about 14 CS up onto Ryoma. And this is really important, right? Because this Tristana is so much of your DPS, you really need her to be in a secure position to be able to operate in that mid lane, right? If she's not able to push because there's a fed Yone who's able to consistently trade on her, you lose so much control over the map, right? She really is your tool to unlock the rest of the map. So Hayri in a very comfortable position here, sitting on completed boots and walking his way towards that Blade of the Ruined King.
Yeah, certainly once that one comes online, he will take a battle to literally anybody. Won't be deterred, even if the Maokai comes into his lane for the 1v2 gank. Would take them all on, given the opportunity. But here's Bard, doing Bard things right now, just rotating around the map, leaving King to his lonesome, which can certainly work out in their favor at times, right? The solo experience, the ability to pick up some extra CS as well, and just have an extra member on the map, free to do as they please. As a Tempered Fate comes out, but that's a really quick response. Really well done there by Hayri.
Yeah, very nice soul unbound there to get his way out of trouble. You can see Draku was kind of trying to take advantage of this window where Team Bliss are doing the dragon to find a play onto mid lane, but won't be able to find anything there. And Ryoma, I'm not sure what he's looking for here. This is a very tanky Bio Panther.
I love the fade away thumbs up emote as the bottom of the screen fades away like, yep, good gank, Tristana drive by.
He just wanted to say hi to his friend as Hayri could have been found, but Ultimate will come out to prevent any damage there. You can see how much they want to attack this mid lane from the side of Antic, right? They want to re-stabilize this Tristana, make sure she's secure in her advantage. But right now, Hayri is finding a way out of every single thing they throw at him.
Certainly is, and you know, no matter how premeditated a solemn burn can be, knowing that you're always going to return to that position, so give yourself that get out of jail free card with the ultimate right afterwards. But this is really the strength of the champion, right? You can hit him with the fully stacked up explosive shot, but he's in your face, not to mention once he rips it all back, a part of that still comes on through. So, fairly annoying champion to deal with. And as we already mentioned, right, once the Blade of the Ruined King comes online, the sustain becomes too much to even get bullied out of lane.
Yeah, there always is a sustain gap in these range versus melee matchups, as you can see. Hayri will actually commit to teleport back to lane, whereas Ryoma will hold his. So TP advantage is in the pocket of this Tristana for the time being. Bot lane always an avenue of attack with the amount of CCs and slows that can come through if Maokai and Bard do manage to link up towards that side of the map, but right now it's Wano who will be in that lane.
It's also worth noting, oh no, Swiper. He's tried to take down his old teammate there with the flash. The wall, the pillar, it's really betrayed him there, quite honestly. He's lost sight for a second, unable to twist an advance right in his face. I was going to say, look to see what Draco could do once the Tempered Fate's up and available. He's going to have to use it in the bot lane now to protect King as the depth charge goes out. The tower's not enough to try and protect him in that 1v3 dive, but the TP coming in now to try and back him on up. In comes Ryoma, making sure that this fight is one that they can look to really contest in, but for what feels like the second time now, he's shown up to a lane and is forced to retreat straight away.
Yeah, he's kind of on damage control there, not really looking for anything proactively because the Tempered Fate has to be used to save King there. So ultimately, we'll just expend that to prevent any deaths coming through. And meanwhile, Hayri will be the benefactor, picking up a plate for himself in the mid lane. And the Grubs have respawned as well. Team Bliss, 4 members. Nautilus has joined up here as well. So might be able to secure all 6 for themselves this game.
Certainly looking to be the case, and I think Antic have realized that this is not one that we win. Nice stun. He's going to warrant the cleanse from Violet. He's not taking any chances right now. He knows that his team is winning elsewhere on the map. He doesn't need to be risky. He doesn't need to greed. He just needs to hold his own. So one summoner is the price to pay. He'll get zoned completely from this wave as well. And Draco also going to try and force out another. There it is with the flash.
Really respectful summoner use there from Violet. He knows that maybe he doesn't have to cleanse instantly there, but if he does, he will be able to save all of his HP, and that's absolutely crucial. So yes, he loses double summoners, but he retains his life, and that's really the important thing. While his team is trading on the top side of the map, he will be able to eat these waves anyway. Just a really nice play to minimize any trade back from the side of Antic.
Yeah, a few CS sacrifice is a pretty good price to pay, knowing that you've got 6 stacks available for you. So when left to your own devices again, you can certainly shred through these towers and deny the likes of Tristana and Ziggs, really doubling down on their ability to absolutely crush this map. A bit of a spike now for a few of these members as those items get completed with the Blade of the Rune King, the Rylai's, as well as the Kraken Slayer on the side of Bliss. You can check in with the overall gold as well. And it is Harry that runs the business right now, top of the gold with nearly 5,600 to his name, but it's actually BioPanther that's been quietly achieving just below him.
BioPanther is always up there somehow, right? It always feels like he's the unsung hero of these games for Bliss, always holding his own, always doing what he needs to, right? Just minimizing any risk that he takes, playing for his team and self-sacrificing. This game, luckily, he will be towards the top end of that gold, but the real scary thing is that Yone, right? You saw how far ahead he was. The Tempered Fate finds Violet. He's got no flash.
Doesn't have any flash, but he doesn't have any need to really be too concerned about that one. Nice little depth charge from Scott, acts as a protector. And the Ziggs bomb right afterwards, nowhere near strong enough at this stage. Still an Archangel ready to be ramped up and evolved into that Seraph. Still has a bit of time, and certainly needs a little bit of extra damage.
Yeah, nothing able to be found onto Violet there means that he feels pretty safe on this mid-wave now, right? If he's got someone with him on mid-wave, he will always have a way to block that Maokai ultimate, so not having the cleanse isn't really too big of an issue for this point. It might be once his dragon spawns in 5 seconds, but why not? He's going to take this opportunity to grab the Herald.
I'll tell you what, Max, from a standpoint of jungle domination, I feel like Wynot's absolutely crushing it in Game 2 here. Every single objective has gone their way, be it Dragon, Herald, and the Void Grubs. And Swiper's really got his work cut out for him, because what does he have to show at this stage? He's down as fierce, as to be expected into the brand matchup, but he's really struggled to find that gank. I think we saw that one little opportunity in the mid lane to try and bring Ryoma back into a position of power, and denied by the terrain. So, game is on. Maybe the experience in the position is starting to come into effect, but I'm not going to discount him just yet, because we've certainly seen Swiper in the late game really excel.
Yeah, absolutely. He's kind of famed for his macro play towards that end game, but that is just the brand Maokai matchup, right? It's just simply an issue of pace. If you don't manage to find those kills early, you're going to have a very hard time keeping up with this brand who, like you said, has managed to take every single objective, and this second Cloud Drake is no exception.
Certainly is not. Wonder what soul we get here today. Hopefully an Inferno one to really put the fireworks on what's been a fantastic opening night here for our second Super Week in a row. Let's wait for the grand reveal. Ah, it's a Mountain Drake. Well,
come on.
All the excitement has just been taken out.
Where are the fun ones? I'd love an Ocean one. Maybe they disabled Ocean because of the PC issues earlier.
Yeah,
didn't want anyone just absolutely just frame crashing out of it. But an interesting lane assignment here. You can see Swiper shadowing Ryoma here. He knows that Hayri, especially in this longer lane of bot lane, will be eager to jump on top of that Tristana at any opportunity he gets. But once again, Hayri showing his restraint, showing his discipline, acknowledging that because his members of the team aren't on his side of the map, he has limited vision, he won't be going for a play. So no needless shutdowns given over to this Ryoma.
Yeah, which you certainly love to see, because now he knows I can pick my moment. But oh no, he's missed the ultimate. Is that his own demise? Oh, a fantastic flash there from Ryoma. Pixel perfect, you have to imagine. Could have asked for better as Harry had that final knock-up, and that could have been lethal.
Yeah, it absolutely could have been. If Ryoma doesn't flash there, he almost certainly would go down there in the solo kill. Harry does expend the ultimate, but luckily he gets to keep the flash, so he will be happy coming out of that play, because the next time a similar scenario happens, Tristana will be at a flash deficit. So whether that's a flash Q, whether that's a flash W, to secure the kill, he will be able to find that once again, which basically means that Antic once again are going to keep having to send people down here, right? They're not able to leave this Tristana alone because of how scary this Yone is. So really, all these points of strength from Antic are kind of becoming weaknesses, and they're being exposed by Team Bliss.
And quite honestly, it looks like Max is actually sacrificing. So, you know what? We don't even care anymore. Flash is literally about to come off cooldown, but is it too little too late? It certainly feels that way. It's about to come off, but he's dead. Shutdown found there by Zornis, and it's a fantastic start to this one when Antic so sorely needed a kill and a way back into this game. They're still down by just over 2,000 gold, but any kill they'll take.
They absolutely will, as Dracu will execute himself to a turret here, but that's just... Oh! He won't execute. It's a kill onto Why Not.
Oh, there you have it. Why not certainly take that one up for free? He'll be very grateful of the fact because he can go back to base to hopefully pick up the Lianzi. Before he does that, a quick pit stop in mid lane, straight into the Herald. Crash into this turret, spawn an army, not only from that, but from their auto attacks too. That mid tower is gone.
Yeah, that mid tower will fall there, and you can see that Team Antic had a really nice usage of summoner spell tracking there to be able to find Violet, right? His flash was about 5 seconds from coming up at the time that Tempered Fate hit him. So just very good summoner tracking. Unfortunately, Dracu isn't able to track the execute timer because of that brand passive, right? It stays on you for so long, and speaking of staying on you for so long, Zoranis might be caught out.
He certainly may be, but he then takes away Scott and says, Violet, you burnt a flash. That's just a straight W for them. The TP comes in, make it twice, as they all rock up to absolutely assert control of the top portion of the map. Yes, they'll get the turret, they'll get a kill too, but they're certainly finding ways to creep back into this game here.
Little by little, there's only 6 kills that have happened total this game, so a very measured game compared to what we're usually used to seeing in the LCO. And a kill going over Ryoma, TPing in is really important, right? This Tristan is having a hard time in lane 1v1 versus Yone, so get her out of the lane, get her into opportunities where she has a front line able to peel for her, and then she's actually able to DPS. Then she's actually able to show what this pick is capable of.
Well, I think now it's become even harder because Harry's just picked up that Immortal Shield bow, so he was tanky before with the amount of sustain. He's got so much lifesteal online now that even before we were saying they need Ryoma and Swiper both to try and attack him at once. I feel like at this point you almost need 3 people to try and shut down this unit because the CC just won't be enough.
Absolutely right. He has so many tools to deal with it as well, right? Whether it is that ultimate, whether it is that Soul Unbound as well. A lot able to come through here. As there's 40 seconds on this next Dragon timer. Ryoma is currently top lane without TP. Biopanther will have his up close to the Dragon spawn. But it looks like Ryoma does want to walk down towards the Dragon nowish, because the Dragon is going to be the third one for Team Bliss if they do pick it up. It's a Mountain Soul, a very strong Dragon when you consider the likes of an Ornn, who's already stacking that health, magic resistant armor. As Harry's found Swiper.
He's found a pick and he's got in with absolute reckless abandon, swipes himself back, and he gets knocked up by the Ornn ultimate thereafter. The damage from Why Not, it's connected. It doesn't matter if the Tempered Fate's there, it's too little too late. You've turned him into a statue, and they found gold.
Yeah, they've found gold. They've found Swiper, which is the all-important guy to take out because he has the smite right now. Harry manages to find that kill starting it off, but there's so many ults that had been committed, right? The cleanse now having to come out of Violet to get out of there.
Ryder's got no summoners. He's standing back as far as he can, but right now he's unchecked. So it's a straight DPS. It's the best case scenario. So Miloventure goes across, but only hits on the Draco. He's being tagged up by the sniper and gets taken down from a million miles away. Down goes Scott, but his job in this fight has already been done. Buster shot to Violet, but it's not lethal. He survives. He's got no summoners. He's got no HP, but he does prevail as a double is found by Why Not. They lose one, but take so many more.
They take so many more. It's a clutch fight. You can see the blinking health bars of Team Bliss here, but a Baron defense that ultimately defends the Baron, but costs them their lives. Without Swiper, it's so hard to move forwards. We see the initial play once again. It starts with this aggression on towards Swiper, who they know has no flash. A pick onto him means a Baron start. So 3 ults committed. You can see Why Not manages to get his full combo out, including his ultimate, right before he goes into that Bard ult, which is crucial. And now the defense. The TP is committed basically instantly from Zoranis onto the mid wave. And take a look at the damage positioning from Antic here, right? They're zoned so far away from Violet and Why Not by Scott. He's providing so much pressure on the side here with the potential for a hook that they have to respect it. They have to run back, and Zoranis, try as he might, does not have the damage to get through the members of Bliss. We're back into it.
We're back into the exact same situation again, fighting around the Baron entrance. And ultimately, it looks like this time Antic are a little bit happier about the outcome. Yes, the ultimate from the brand came across and it's burning everybody down, but a Tempered Fate connects again. Always locking in for this Aphelios. Violet's job is so hard in this game again. He's going to fall down for the second time. And he's going to have to give up mid lane control in the process. Antic have been relentless, but they are finding success with these Tempered Fates.
Yeah, they're not looking to head towards this Baron here, which is a little bit surprising, right? They do know that Violet is dead for 30 seconds here. That's so much of the damage. Instead, they're going to opt to TP in on this mid wave. This Ziggs and Tristana, as we mentioned before, ripping through these towers. But we'll see whether a Baron dance once again is on the cards.
It certainly looks like it's to be the case now. It is worth noting that Bliss, or most importantly Biopanther, is now starting to share the love and the wealth with those ornaments coming on through. First of all, placed towards Violet on this Infinity Edge. But that's going to be a real item advantage to take into consideration. You usually quantify it as what, like 1,500 gold per upgrade. So you take stock of where they're at right now, and Bliss no doubt are feeling pretty cruisy about going into the late game. Let's see how it all started initially. It just looks like Scott's returned to the Baron Pit and then being spotted on a ward.
Yeah, he's just warding without respecting the mid wave, right? His teammates are currently trying to push that out, so they don't have the space to move. He's lucky Tristana is in here as well, because if you have that 80 carry in the mix, you're going to be taking so much more damage. And potentially Wino could have gone down as well, but only Scott falling means that yes, the Baron's an option, but really it's not that exciting until they find Violet here with a really nice Tempered Fate.
They certainly do, and I tell you what, it's literally been a bit of an aimbot on towards Violet to make sure that he cannot really do too much of this one. His cooldowns have been burnt pretty much all of the time. Flash once again just about to come up, but Violet falls victim to another gank. It really hasn't been his one in game 2 here, but Antic, much to their credit, they found two, they've evaporated the bot lane, and they once again stand there in the Baron and try and bait out a response.
Yeah, that play was of Bliss's choosing, right? They elected to go for that dive, and it ends up being turned around really rapidly on towards Violet and the rest of the team. Now it's a 3v5. Ornhorn does come out.
Does come out. Tempered Fate hits nothing, so it doesn't interrupt the combo that Biopanther was teasing them with, but the Baron has been stopped, and that's what they're after. Bio, though, still is popping a lot of damage with 4 members on him, rooted in place there by the Maokai. He can bellows breath, but it's not going to be enough here, as Why Not is forced to try and run for the hills, but at the same time also try and pad them down low with the Pillar of Flame coming on out. He could have spread it with the Conflag given the short amount of range, but he might just turn it around here onto Drag, who slow them with the Rylai's, and then utilizes Blast Cone to try and run and just cycle through these cooldowns. He's literally got the entire team chasing after him, and I would bet that he could at least find one here. We're trying to get Ryoma, and he takes him down despite this there shield popping.
Yeah, that's huge. 5 members are chasing on towards Wino, and he manages to get the 1-for-1 in return. We see again, this is the dive that started this whole thing off. They see Zoranus by himself, at least what looks to be by himself, and they try to start the dive, but this is a Cassante. He's incredibly tanky, and before you know it, he's bought enough time for Swiper and Draku to arrive, plus a TP coming through. 2 easy kills going down, and thanks to some nice play from Biopanther, the Baron doesn't end up going over, but it's still an incredibly risky feat to be happening at 25 minutes into this game.
Certainly is. It's asking the inevitable to really take place here, which is Antic finding themselves a strength in the late game, and that certainly has been when they've looked the strongest right now. As we check in and see that King, well, 3-0-4 has a bounty, incredibly strong, the only one on Antic right now, as he looks to try and do battle here with Ryoma for the strongest on their side. It's worth noting that despite Harry still having the most gold in the game, sitting at 12,000, he's only found that 1 kill early on, and really poked the bear with aggression thereafter. Still an absolute menace now with the Wits End complete. 3 items done. I mean, can really take down anybody.
You absolutely can, and it looks like Team Bliss will be looking to take down the Baron instead of heading towards this dragon, as the hook finds Zoranus.
Another
for a little bit of zoning.
Try and zone them as much as they can. Out goes the minefield, looking to try and zone them as Team Bliss look to get aggressive backwards. Hayri's the stolen bound once again, seeing what he can find as a result, but they're getting kited, and this is really favourable right now for the likes of a Zig, who just gets to pepper them from afar. A little bit extra range compared to the Brand when forced to try and run away, but the Baron continues to taunt them. This seems to be the best way at this stage of the game to try and draw out a fight.
It absolutely does. They burn down the Baron very quickly, but here comes the hook.
So he does. Wipers the focus once again. Depth charge good enough, and there is the 3-man knock-up. And then look at Biped for the top of your screen. He nearly just soloed out King. He's got everybody on top of his head right now and still persevering through. He'll eventually fall on down, but his job has been done. Ryoma's found a double kill. Through the portal goes Violet, instantly cleansing out and at least putting damage in to help them find one. He's not dead yet. Red weapon. It wasn't enough in the end, but we said how strong Harry was, and there he goes delivering.
Yeah, Harry absolutely takes over in that fight, but it's Violet who has 6,000 damage, just able to completely free hit as this Aphelios with 2.5 items, and that will secure them the teamfight win, that will secure them the drag, that will secure them the soul.
Soul point is the overall theme. It's what they've been after, and is what they'll need to sustain themselves through all of these long, protracted fights. We'll run it back again with a replay, because it once again starts with Scott saying, here's a hook, that's my kill.
Yeah, nice little angle onto Swiper here. He does flash the initial engage, and crucially, Harry's ultimate is blocked. If that comes through, he's going to be able to find King, he's going to be able to find Draku, and take them down, which Bipanther almost does by himself. But it's the fact that he's so separated and Ryoma is able to hit him for so long that the fight ends up going the way that it does, right? Harry takes a while to be able to get onto the rest of these members, but once he does, it is just over.
Such a confident man is Violet to go through that magic portal, knowing that the Temper Fate was right there and would just want to continue to deal this damage out. And it just seems to be this kind of series for Violet, right? Doesn't matter what his KDA looks like. If he gets given one opportunity, he can certainly deal so much damage as a result. And as you said, 6,000 in that fight, even if he has the 1 and 4 KDA. Once again, it's Scott to start things off with the exact same position. There is the combo, and there is the target, Ryoma. They want to take him down. And King, he's able to limp away. And Harry can snap back to this Baron, which it feels like we've been here for 10 minutes now.
Yeah, it does, and look how quickly it's burning, Skimmy. I'm not even sure that Bliss are going to be Antic are going to be able to get into the pit, but they're going to try.
2-man knock up, there is the Ram, and there is the damage. Double kill for Violet, finally showing, yes, I am incredibly strong, and my KDA should look to try and reflect that. The Baron had no chance at all.
Round and round they go at the Baron dance, but this time it goes in their favor, right? Scott goes down on the initial play, but they don't care. They go straight back into it. You can see this is the initial darkness that Antic are walking into, playing off the Scott hook. This time, you can see how far away Violet is. Actually gets hit by the Tempered Fate, meaning he's unable to go forwards in DPS. But look at the confidence. They are absolutely unfazed, head straight back towards that Baron, and that forces the low HP members of Antic to run into them. This Aphelios is so deadly at this stage. Look at his damage once he actually starts hitting. That's 2 kills, and that's the Baron.
But I have to say, Biopemp has been playing immaculate in these last few team fights, right? Multi-man stuns, knockups, and CC chains, which is really making it so easy for the rest of the team to deal the damage they're able to put on out. There is the Bard portal, but he's copped so much damage here from the Brand. He's ticking on down. I don't know if that's enough, but it's certainly close. And look at them steam ahead. You've got Barons, you've got 6 stacks of Void Grubs. These towers, you look at them, they fall on down.
They absolutely do, especially with how fed this Aphelios is right now. Violet's sitting incredibly pretty. His KDA isn't the nicest, but his damage is absolutely unmatched at this stage. He's going to be out DPSing basically everyone if he's allowed to free hit. As he goes to Tempered Faded, finds why not. Can Antic follow up?
Can they follow up? There's a TP to try and back things up. Hitting Bliss to make sure they've got an HP advantage. The Zonius from Wynot so we can suffer for those cooldowns one more time. Ticking down to the explosive shot, and boom, there he goes. But we continue to fight, and it still is Bliss favored. They're up by 4,000 from this Baron. And yes, that Mega Inferno Bomb hurts, but it's just not enough. Antic cannot defend their base. They'll lose one inhibitor. And look, there's a massive wave prepped in mid lane. I would not be surprised. There's still a minute on Baron left for them to rotate thereafter.
Yeah, neither. Violet looking to clear out this jungle as well. Rotate his guns through to get those optimal lineups sorted. But it feels like every single fight that Team Bliss take, it feels like it could be going either way. And then Harry rocks up this Yone. 4.5 items now, incredibly strong. We'll see how it starts once again. It's a nice little Tempered Fade out from Draku that finds Wynot initially. This is kind of the go button here. You can see the Maokai ultimate committed on top and all the space that's being bought for Violet. You can see Zorinus actually drags him back into the rest of the fight, but because of the other members on Team Bliss able to buy space, it means that he's able to go and still free hit throughout the rest of this fight. And once Harry arrives, this man is unkillable and he one-shots everyone.
He really does. Now he's got a Terminus, he's got the Warden's Mail too, he's getting tanky. But his damage is unrelenting, and at this point where ornaments are being shared across the board, their team is up by such a monumental amount of gold. Yes, you see 5k on the scoreboard there. It much more reflects, I would say, 10k, because on top of that, you've got the Baron, you've got the Mountain Soul. They have so much, unquantified strength that it will take. It almost feels like a monumental mistake for them to throw the lead now.
Yeah, absolutely. With this Ornn sitting the way he is, with the Mountain Soul, with the 2 Mountain Dragons, plus all the items in his inventory, he is absolutely a rock to get through. But Antic are going to take the straightforward approach to trying to break down Team Bliss's base, just pushing down mid lane. Harry has been found. He's fallen bounds in a pretty precarious spot.
Certainly is. He's going to go in for the ultimate before he snaps them back, so he's got some cleave damage, but Harry is dead his first of the game. This is a massive moment, a triple Tempered Fate from the Bard. Draku is smurfing, clutch back to when they need it. There is an Elder now spawning, but it does not matter because still Violet is alive, and he's managed to take down 2 as well. Antic will siege through mid. Bliss will turn their attention towards Elder, but then they've also got a TP into the base as Bio wants to win the game right here and now.
Unfortunately, it's an Ornn skimmy, so he does basically 0 damage to these turrets. He won't be able to take it down, but meanwhile, it's the Elder going over to the side of Team Bliss. It looked like a disaster for them to start that fight. Harry puts his E in a very poor location, which means that they have to react to try to defend it. Here we go once again. You can see Antic, because they have mid-lane priority, they're able to corral Team Bliss off to the side here. That forces Harry to make this positional error that he does, and he tries to fight it off, but ultimately ends up going down. And after this Tempered Fate, you really think it's over, but quick summoner spells out of the Team Bliss bot lane are able to get them out of dodge, and it's really this choke here. Ryoma jumps through it and is just machine gunned down by Violet.
I love the fact that Violet just stands and delivers and looks at both Swiper and Ryoma and says, "You shall not move," right? Like, it's just straight tank shredding at that point of the game. And we really have hit that point of the game, right, where it is so late on now that literally it has been a jungle kingdom in terms of objectives. Why not has literally scooped up everything the game has had to offer and really put his team in a winning position. You got the Mormam Mortius here for Violet as well. He wants to be as tanky as possible because he has been on the receiving end of so much attention, and for good reason too. You're seeing it be realized now in the late game, but with the inhibitor still down for another 90 seconds in the bot lane, Bliss will turn their attention towards mid and top.
Yeah, and this Elder makes these pushes so threatening, right? A single misstep against this Aphelios, you will just end up dying as the ultimate's been committed onto King. It's going to be a lot of damage. If he gets that auto off, there's almost a chance it's a kill as well, but instead he will be fairly chunked. 2 inhibitors down, 3 inhibitors down, all 3 done for the side of Antic. As Team Bliss will take a temporary reprieve here. The Baron is spawning. They want to make sure there's no errors in their game. They want to do this thing by the book.
They certainly do. Very methodical gameplay by them. They know that a 2-0 is not too far away, which would certainly send a statement to the rest of the league that we are, without question, the best team in the league right now. Maybe answering some questions as to who are the best individual role players for mid in particular, as we highlight that matchup. And Harry certainly is looking to try and assert himself as the kingpin right now. This Yone, despite that previous death, has been unmatchable. And now at full build, he's got the G8. He's going to be even harder to take down. So it's a Baron seemingly next to take on through, and then really steamroll through the front door that you've already kicked on down.
Yeah, that's it. It feels almost inevitable at this stage, right? Antic have a very good wave clear comp, but against 3 lanes with double supers and Baron, even they are going to have a rough time guarding their Nexus turret. So it really is going to be onto Bliss to just kind of stand there, wait for these minions to do their work as the Tempered Fate misses.
Tempered Fate does miss, and turn around goes Scott, landing in the hook. 5 Pepper chunks on in. Look at Scott deplete, just instantly evaporated. Bio taking up the well for the meantime. Fantastic stun from Draco, but there's no follow-up, so why not won't fall on down. Mega Inferno Bomb pads him low, but he's still 50%. In with the massive knock-up by Bio, and the Fate Seal that hits nothing but the flash afterwards, which gets the kill confirmed. Violet goes golden, Violet is kiting, and with the lifesteal, it's just not enough. Zominus rips them back, but it won't delay that inevitable. It is that slow bleed with triple supers swarming the base, and Bliss, in convincing fashion, get the perfect 2-0.
Antic looked good, but Bliss looked better. They are absolutely commanding in their 2-0. Yes, there are times where fights don't go their way, as why not giving a Ziz pose in honor of the fallen Draku. But it seems, Skimmy, for now that the new kings are the ones that will stay on the throne.
For all the honors that are amongst them on the side of Antic, it wasn't enough to try and take down Bliss here tonight. Too good on the night, the perfect 2-0. They are uncontested with 13 points, the best team in the league right now. We'll jump to a quick break and break it all down right after this.